Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
3 terror attacks took place across the country this weekend, but the big story right out of the gate was how Donald Trump dared to jump to conclusions by referring to these explosions as bombs before all of the facts came in. Really, this is the issue that you have, is that someone called it a bombing a little bit too early, even when what he said was exactly correct. Frankly, Margaret, I think that we can all begin jumping to conclusions now when there is an explosion that rocks the middle of a city near you.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. And what we do know about the bomber, Ahmed Kahn Rahami, 28 years old, they shot him in the leg and they finally captured him. Six different instances where he was trying to blow up the city around him. He actually sues the police department because they discriminated against him last year for being Muslim. But it turns out maybe they, should have been looking at him because he tried to blow up New York City, and he also tried to blow up northern New Jersey. So perhaps Trump's conclusion, he's being hammered right now. But honestly, Clinton adopts the same rhetoric that Trump has, but nothing is made of that.
Right. And I think it's, it's really great how we can point out how the American justice system is wonderful when you can use it to your advantage, like he and his family tried to sue the police department there. But Margaret, what I found incredibly insulting about the way that the networks cover this, instead of live streaming this mayhem as it was happening, they love to exploit these type of scenarios, total paranoia. Let's be real. This is CNN, who for a month was talking about this missing plane, 24/7 news coverage. They didn't really cover it. They went immediately back to wall-to-wall birther coverage and then covering the Emmys and this. So why such a whitewash of these attacks, really downplaying what was going on? Well, Barack Obama, of course, plans to accept 110,000 more refugees in fiscal year 2017. Hillary Clinton is campaigning on the promise that she is going to increase that number by 550%. And like you mentioned, now following these attacks, Hillary Clinton gave a press conference this morning, and so she is adopting Trump's rhetoric. She's calling for tough vetting of immigrants, and she's adding, we need a better visa system, but until then, bring them in by the hundreds of thousands.
We know that she's a pathological liar. It's no surprise that the Clinton News Network would be whitewashing the truth because they don't want you to understand it. They don't want you to understand what's going on, number one. Number two, how dare you question anything, you racist? If you dare question our immigration policies, be prepared to be totally slammed, both publicly and privately. But look, here's the deal. You were absolutely right. The 110,000 begins on October 1st. It's the first push. He's not going to even be in office when this takes place. The only hope that we have is that somebody steps up to the plate and says, you know what, maybe we should be questioning our immigration policies. We shouldn't be accepting people that come from terrorist hotspots that are war-torn, that have a vendetta against the U.S. Number one, he's the only person in this race saying that, and she tries to steal and plagiarize his narrative. It's not working. She's tired. It's old thing. It's frankly very boring when she does it, Leanne, because it's clearly plagiarism. But going back to the immigration issues that the U.S. has, and we have a very cocked up system. You and I found this article on Yahoo.com. The U.S. government has mistakenly granted citizenship to at least 858 immigrants from countries of concern and national security with high rates of immigration fraud. So we're talking about nearly 900 people that had a deportation order in the U.S. And our own Homeland Security Department, through an internal memo, they've decided that they made it this gigantic cock up. They actually granted people that were on a deportation list instant fast track citizenship. And 3 of these people, I might have transportation credentials, which means that they're currently flying planes that are commercial aircraft that people are on. So,
incredible.
Talk about a messed up system that we have. DHS, they're reflecting the fact that we have a long withstanding problem. And unfortunately, what we've seen is our president, he even refuses to call radical Islam for whatever reason, be it cowardness or be it an agenda that he has, clearly as an agenda. He refuses to call this what it is. And he tries to, the media tries to unsuccessfully bash people who do.
Right.
i.e. Trump, for example.
And they do not want anyone to put that laser focus on the fact that they are wanting an open door policy. 1 in 5 Syrian refugees settled in the New York area. Obama wants even more there. There's almost 100,000 Somalians admitted since 9/11. Almost 100%, 99.6% of those people are Muslim. So this is, these are not the westernized Muslims. These are the people who have a culture completely incompatible with the West.
who are taught to rise up against us. There's an agenda happening, and sometimes I read blogs and forums, and there's a clear agenda, and it's a Western takeover of civilization. They understand the politics and practice of our hijacked liberal political climate right now, and they understand that through the sympathy and apologist factor that there's this Trojan horse that's happening with refugees. You pointed that out well. 99% coming from a hostile region that want to do us harm. We're admitting them, and also they're beneficiaries of our welfare state as well.
Well, I feel like both Hillary and Obama need to be charged with treason because Donald Trump pointed this out before. He said, Obama, he must know something or else he's just incredibly ignorant. He's got something else up his sleeve. But there have been some major lies exposed here just recently. Let's talk about the fact that Barack Obama campaigned on closing down Gitmo. Obviously, once in office, found out that wasn't as easy as it sounds. 7 years later, now this facility remains open because the jihadists there most of them are the worst of the worst. But he still wants to keep that promise to shut down Guantanamo. He says it's a recruitment tool for organizations like ISIS. But here's the kicker. He said, keep in mind, of the hundreds of people who have been released and the recidivism rate, there are going to be maybe a handful of them are going to be embittered and still engaging in anti-U.S. activities and trying to link up potentially with their old organizations. But this is just false. It's not true. So when Obama made this claim, 653 detainees had been released. Of that group, 196 had been confirmed or suspected of returning to jihadist activity. Upon their release, of course, he released really high-level senior Taliban officials in order to secure the release of Bo Bergdahl. So totally dangerous. This is a time at escalated threat levels from international terrorists. The president is releasing the most dangerous leaders of the jihadist groups against the advice of the military and the intelligence community, just saying, well, no, I made this promise. We got to shut it down. We have no plan for vetting them. We have no plan to keep track of them, but we trust them, And then, of course, he's like downplaying the threat to the American people.
Of course he is, because he understands the significance of the chaos that can be created when you have hardened jihadi criminals unleashed on the earth. It's almost, Leanne, if I didn't know better, it was almost like they were setting us up to, the impending martial law, because we understand that the government is the savior. So when there's a massive crisis, say a terrorist attack, they're the only ones that can save us. If I didn't know any better, he'd be setting us up for that. Conveniently, if he ever does leave office, there's speculation that something's going to happen between now and November 2nd. And we might be stuck with him. God help us if that is the case. But it definitely looks like he's setting us up for a future crisis.
Well, absolutely. One of his big accomplishments, of course, was the deal with Iran. And let's not forget that he lied to us, and now he's been caught in multiple lies over those a cash payment that he sent to Iran on the same day where they released the prisoners there, but it totally wasn't a ransom. That was that $400 million payment delivered in cash to the Iranian government. Well, now we actually know that the U.S., according to testimony provided before Congress, the U.S. reportedly gave $33 billion to Iran in cash and gold between 2014 and 2016. But that's not all. You'll recall that Obama said that the reason why they had to give them all that cash is because we're so strict in maintaining sanctions. We don't have a banking relationship with Iran. We couldn't just send them a check or wire the money. That's not true, because a Treasury Department spokesman confirmed on Saturday the U.S. made at least 2 separate payments to the Iranian government via wire transfer within the last 14 months. So just rolling out lie after lie. And indeed, probably we're going to find out one of the other things he told us was that they don't know who the money was given to or how it's going to be spent. But I have a few ideas.
Of course. So let's not forget the aspect of the Iranian government that is considered to be a terrorist arm of that government. They have chanted death to America. They're building a nuclear arsenal against us. They're threatening Israel. They're pointing missiles toward the sky. Our president has given them money and aid as a gesture of goodwill, as a gesture of reparations, if you will, because of some military treaty gone awry, military act gone awry, some exchange that happened long before he was ever president of the United States. And, his motivation, Leanne, questioning him as a president, as a leader, I'm really encouraged by Trump's statement to call it like it is today. And it looks like he's making waves yet again. Unfortunately, though, we're seeing acts of terror committed on our own soil. And yet, what can we do except for highlight them and Tell people the truth.
It's totally unbelievable, but the American people are waking up to this lie, the lies and the deception.
In the last 20 years, Infowars has paid its dues. We have proven that we are a cutting-edge news and information source. And when it comes to funding our operations, we take cutting edge to the next level with the highest quality supplements and nutraceuticals available. We have now more than 25 different amazing formulas available at InfoWarsStore.com. And the flagship is Super Male and Super Female Vitality, where we take thousands of years of the ancient knowledge and use high-tech modern technology to cold press these organic herbs to give you compounds that are meant to accentuate the body's normal function. We're making it easier than ever today with a special we're running for 2 weeks only. 20% off on these formulas at InfoWarsLife.com. Everyone out there watching and listening to me owes it to themselves to give Mother Nature a try and to try Super Male or Super Female Vitality. God designed us and this planet to work in synergy together. And all we've done at InfoWarsLife.com is go back to the research and the secrets of the ancients and integrated that with a modern approach. And that's why the products at InfoWarsLife.com are such huge game changers. And that's why Super Male Vitality and some of our other top formulas for a limited time are 20% off right now at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll free 888-253-3139.